Hello everybody, Sasingitania here with another Age of Empires 2 interview. This time around I am interviewing the one and only TheViper. Of course he is the best player in Age of Empires 2 and he's a member of GamerLegion. I am going to be talking with him about that particular topic as well as what are his expectations for this Red Bull Wololo 3 tournament and what his team is planning on doing for the event. So please, go ahead and enjoy. One of the first things that I want to ask about is we have been a couple of months into your guys' stints with GamerLegion. You found a new home, you left behind Team Secret on a good note, and you've entered GamerLegion. And I want to know, has there been any major changes to the way you guys practice or you go about entering tournaments or anything like that, or has it been mostly the same, just essentially under new management?
So a lot of things are fairly similar. They're both esports organizations, obviously, and they function very similarly. But I do feel like with GamerLegion, we're definitely way more. We are interacting way more with the guys in charge, so to say. While Secret, obviously, a little bit of a bigger team, so they have more teams and probably more things to take care of. GamerLegion, they don't have too many teams, so we've been able to interact more with both other teams and also the management itself. So it's been an enjoyable change for my sake. And otherwise, other things have been fairly similar to how it was under Secret, and we're all enjoying our stay a lot.
Awesome. And when it comes to practice, I know a lot of teams, for example, the Souls guys with Winchester, Classic Pro, and Warrior, and I can't remember the last guy, but you know that these guys have been practicing a lot. They've been putting a lot of time into getting better. I think that we saw a little bit of that with Classic Pro's performance on the qualifiers, and I wanted to know kind of your perspective if you think that in terms of practice, you guys at GamerLegion are keeping up with what everybody else is putting at the moment. I know that also White Wolf Palace is kind of getting together as a little bit of a more, I suppose, professional sort of setting of practice. So I kind of want to know what you guys at GamerLegion are thinking about when it comes to improving at the game in a sort of day-to-day or weekly basis.
All right. So on a weekly basis, in general, we kind of all just do our own thing in terms of streaming, content creation, and we play together when it fits. But when tournaments like Red Bull, for example, now are coming up, we do talk way more, we interact way more in terms of scheduling training sessions, playing together, sharing ideas, going through maps together, etc. And that's pretty much how it is for us. Like whenever there's a big major tournament happening, we get together, we will train together, like I said, and even share like some Excel sheets and stuff where we have information that we want to share with each other and get input on. So I feel like we are definitely keeping up. At the moment, we are more focused on helping the guys that need to qualify prepare, and that helps the guys for the main event as well because we will get ideas, we will get feelings for how to approach certain maps and civilizations, and as the main event approaches, hopefully we have as many players as possible in there. If we get all six, that would be amazing. But I think right now we have three, so hopefully we can get at least one or two more, and they represent GamerLegion well. But yeah, once we get into the main event, we'll definitely sharpen up a little bit and get more clear answers on approaches and how to do things, right? And also, obviously, we'll watch the qualifiers, watch what other teams, other players are doing, and how they approach things, as with the main event. And I'm sure we will update and freshen up our ideas as we see fit, considering how the other people play as well.
And I wanted to ask you, you know, since you're sharing strategies and practicing together in GL, I saw an interesting game, and obviously you casted it along with Nilly, but you know also Lightacore, and I think T90 casted it as well, which was DauT versus Dogao, and the map that I particularly liked was Atacama, where DauT played Malians, and he had this strategy with opening with dogs and using that extra food to help them. And you actually criticized them a little bit, or at least speculated that it would have been better to actually only have four fishing ships instead of the full seven that he went with. And I kind of want to know, was that something that you guys brainstorm as a team to think, you know, these are the map changes, what can we do with them? Or was it more of, you know, something that you and Nilla didn't really expect, but that kind of came out on his own?
Like DauT, I hadn't had any terms of preparation with. I've been mostly dealing with Jordan before the first qualifier, and lately also with Taro and Nilly. Slam with the time zone is a little bit more difficult, but yeah, DauT has been doing his own thing, so that was something he came up with. I didn't have too much experience with the map, so for me it was pure speculation rather, where my first impression was that water might not be that important, but DauT obviously came up with this idea of dropping the dock and taking the shorefish as well. So that was DauT's theory, and I didn't criticize it per se. I just speculated, as you said. So I still don't know which is the right approach, and I'm sure we'll figure that out eventually.
And do you think that there are, because I was keeping track of a couple of civilization stats throughout this first qualifier, and one of the things that kind of popped out to me was Tatars, which I know recently received a little bit of a buff, but I wanted to know what were your thoughts on Tatars, the civilization itself, and maybe a couple other civilizations that have been played so far in the qualifiers. Of course, Vikings have been banned as always, but Chinese are still strong. You have Mayans who are still strong. What are the sort of civilizations that you are personally kind of thinking you are either gonna run up against, or you want to use yourself for their advantages?
So the difference with this Red Bull tournament now is that a lot of the civ bonuses aren't there anymore. Like Lithuanians, for example, won't have their 150 extra food. It feels like they've removed all the Dark Age bonuses. So I think Lithuanians was a very popular choice last Red Bull tournament. I think we'll see less of them now. But yeah, Tatars with the recent changes, but they still get their 2 extra sheep in fuel age, so that's a massive boost for them. Tatars will definitely be one of the top civs, I think. Vikings obviously will be there. And then I think you will have the usual suspects that we had from the previous Red Bull tournaments.
Great. And when it comes to, I mentioned him a little bit early, Classic Pro, but there are also a couple of other players who have been showing that they're, pretty good players when it comes to Empire Wars at the very least. For example, Daniel. Daniel recently qualified for the main event on this past weekend. And I want to know, are there any names in this kind of upcoming pool of talent that are sort of rising through the ranks, or at the very least they're putting their name out there, going into tournaments and having good results, that you think, maybe in a couple of months, maybe when big tournaments kind of come into the scene again for 1v1, that you think they could have their sort of breakout performance and become a sort of big recognized name within the community?
Yeah, it's difficult though, because we have so many good players, right? Daniel is definitely one of the guys that have entered the scene more in the recent months, both playing team games and 1v1 tournaments and showing performances as well, also climbing the ladder. We have, just like the recent year as well, ACCM, for example, has improved a ton. But yeah, Daniel is probably one of the guys that you have to look out for. I think Viles as well has improved a lot recently. Getting to the semifinals in King of the Deserts is definitely not bad. I wouldn't say I can't. Or the right word is I can't really think of anyone that would stand out to me. But we have a bunch of good players up and coming around the 2100, 2200 level that make quick jumps very shortly, and some obviously using some civs to their advantage, like Tatars Boy, climbing a lot of points on the ladder. But yeah, Daniel definitely one of them. I think he has reached 2K4 as well himself. So yeah, there's a couple of them, and Daniel is one of them for sure.
Great. And now, sort of final question. I want to hear your thoughts on Red Bull at the moment, because the first Red Bull, you kind of ended up as a semifinalist, but it was a Mr. Yo versus Hair final. It was a fantastic final. On the second one, everybody kind of thought you would be going up against Mr. Yo. You would probably be fighting neck and neck with him for that title. Leary ended up taking you out. Now we're coming on to the third one. I won't say that you're the underdog, because you're still considered the best player in Age of Empires, but there's certainly a little bit of an air of, is Viper a top, the best player in Empire Wars, or is the title kind of floating around between a couple of people? And I want to know what you have to say about it. What do you want to get in Red Bull Wololo 3? Are you really looking for that redemption? I know that, for instance, when Red Bull Wololo 2 finished, you always said that you don't like to let losses get to you. And you've always been really good at that. But after losing Red Bull Wololo 2, you felt a little bit down that you weren't able to put the performance that you wanted out of yourself. So coming into Red Bull Wololo 3, how is your mental doing? How are you preparing yourself mentally to get the best out of your performance, the best out of your training, to get the result that you want to get out of the tournament?
So first, I think you have the timelines mixed up a little bit because okay, so the first Red Bull I was in the final against Mr. Yo. I did lose that final 4-0, and that's the one where I kind of felt like very disappointed because I felt like I wasn't able to play my best. I think it was a correlation between playing the semi-final right before the final, and also we were playing on a server where I felt like everything was running way slower. We have recently started playing more on West India, which is better ping for both me and Mr. Yo. So I feel like that has also helped my performance against him in general. For the second one, I didn't feel down really. I felt like I was playing okay. I felt like I could have prepared better for sure, but also at the same time, Leary played phenomenally, and his aggressive style really. Uh, it was a pleasure to watch aggression rewarded, like the way Leary was playing Empire Wars in the second one, and I was happy to see him win as well. Personally, I obviously want to win pretty much every tournament I enter. I have ambitions to win, and if I don't win, I will be disappointed. And Rebel Wololo 3 is no different, right? I would like to win. I am preparing differently this time. I will this time play way more games and way more series and sets instead of for the previous ones. I've mostly been just training specific maps with specific civs where, for example, me and Tad or me and DauT will play and we will be like, all right, I think this civ can be good. Let me try that. And you think that civ can be good. Okay, you try that. Instead of actually playing the setting, which would be drafting, picking civs, sniping civs, picking maps, and so forth. So this time my preparation is more in the direction of rinse, repeat, right? We'll do drafts, we'll do snipes, we'll play the maps, and repeat that pretty much. So I'm planning to play way more in terms of just getting a better feel of Empire Wars because I feel like the second one I wasn't really on the same level in terms of having the right mentality and approach towards Empire Wars, and I'm hoping just playing more sets will help change that.
Great. Sorry for the mixed up timeline. I was sure about,
No worries.
But yeah, those are all the questions that I wanted to ask you. So again, Viper, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me through your thought process, through your strategy, through what the guys at GL are kind of getting together for the tournament. And best of luck with you in the main event, and best of luck to the rest of the GL guys that still have to qualify.
Thank you very much.
And that's all for this interview. Thank you so much for watching, and again, I want to apologize to all of you guys, the viewers, for the little mistake in the timeline that I did back there, but thankfully it wasn't too bad. So anyway, thank you so much for watching once again, and if you have any feedback or anything else that you want me to know, leave it in the comments. I'm always happy to read them. But anyway, have a good one.